Hey everyone, this is for all the Native Americans out there. I joined this group, Missing and Murdered uh, Natives, on Facebook. And I've been covering this since probably like 2011 or something like that. And 2015, I'm sorry. And what I've come to understand is not only the length of time that people have been vanishing in sex trafficking, sex trafficking has been going on. It hasn't been a huge. There has been some, but not a huge thing revealing a lot of missing people. You understand? When you hear that somebody's cracked down and all that stuff, and they find some youth or some adults. The problem is that most of these people who have been found commit suicide. You have to understand this thing that we are walking around in a society where people are disappearing. On top of that, we are right now we are basically against each other in some shape or form. With that, you have predators on the loose. You understand? And they have a system that is so intact that the people who do escape fear for their lives. They don't even feel safe anymore. And the reason behind that is that this is much deeper than we can fathom. And it's not even, you will group it as a conspiracy theory. That's how bad it is. So, you have to understand the predators, whether they're sex offenders, whether they're coming for your money or coming for your land. There are systems in place that keep this going on. And the only way that we can really attack this is simply call it what it is: slavery. Children are enslaved, women and men are being enslaved. And the whole rebranding of slavery into sex trafficking and human trafficking has softened the meaning behind what is really going on. So, to put the icing on the cake, black people have been talking about slavery for a while, right? Now there are confirmed cases of slavery happening, and nobody's protesting about that. I'm not talking about individual protests. I'm talking about the same protests that you've seen not too long ago. You have to understand that when this happens, it happens on a large scale, but it also happens in communities. Somebody disappearing and stuff like that. It's not like, oh, somebody took 30, 40, 50 people at once, which is happening. But at the same time, it's not really being covered as such. So I've got some links that really confirm that the media knows. BBC News, the woman vanishing without a trace. That's an article. I'm gonna post it on the link. Thousands of women and girls disappearing in Mexico every year. This is in Mexico. Many are never seen alive again. When one couple released their daughter was missing, they knew they don't have long. They don't have long to find her. Mexico. And this is that article was in 2015. This is when I was covering it, and I think I had a radio show called Chicago Underground. And then this is a another article, and Fact Retriever. Yeah, Fact Retriever. 50 interesting missing people facts. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go through the facts right now, but you have to understand this. For them to have facts about that and statistics used to generate these numbers, they know what the fuck is going on. Pentagon, this is in Boston.com, and Pentagon lagged on pursuing porn cases. The Pentagon investigation of defense and intelligence employees who downloaded child pornography and is being criticized in Congress after the Department of Defense acknowledged that its investigators failed to check thoroughly whether its employees were on the list of suspected porn viewers. In 2006, the Immigration and Custom Enforcement Agency, which conducts internet pornography investigation, produced a list of 5,200 Pentagon employees suspected of viewing child pornography and asked the Pentagon to review it. But the Pentagon checked only about two-thirds of those names, unearthing roughly 300 defense and intelligence employees who allegedly have viewed child pornography on their work or home computers. Alright, I'm going to post that article on that. Moving on. And this article is the Thought Catalog, and this was March 6, 2015. I'm going to post the links. 64,000 black women are missing in the United States. Where are they? Okay. And then another journalist, this is in 2019, and this is True Crime Times. Where are Americans' 64,000 missing black women? We need to discuss the sad and disturbing trend that is occurring in the United States. It might be something you already noticed, but it's something many people have never stopped to consider. When a white woman goes missing, the story's all over the news. However, when a black woman goes missing, the public barely hears a beat. Now, even Native American women don't even get a whimper. So, now this is, let me see if I could play it, because I'm recording it. It might knock me off. Hold on for a minute. Still going. I don't want to risk it, but I'm gonna post some links, some YouTube links. Let's give it a try.
3 dozen men from around the world. Lost Boy was a place where individuals could share pictures and videos depicting child pornography. Let me be clear. We are not talking about innocuous photographs or quote-unquote artistic photographs of naked children on the beach. I am referring to serious graphic images of children that are being sexually exploited. Many of these children were in the age range of 7 to 12 years old, and these pictures usually depicted children with their genitals graphically displayed or engaging in explicit sexual activity with other children or even adult men. As a parent, it is just too difficult to imagine the horrific forms of abuse that these children had to go under, and quite frankly, it's difficult to...
Now, this was a international child pornography ring that spanned 3 continents. 3 continents. Okay? Now, this is about the Pentagon.
Keeping them honest tonight, potentially hundreds of military employees and contractors who may have bought child pornography online but haven't been prosecuted or even in some cases investigated. That's right, you heard me, child pornography. As many as 1,700 names, according to a U.S. Senator, on a list of 5,200 from an internet sting operation overlooked the first time around 4 years ago. Only now are they supposedly getting a second look, and only after pressure from investigative reporters and the U.S. Senator you're about to hear from, Republican Charles Grassley. Pentagon porn story began in 2006. An Immigration and Customs Enforcement child pornography sting operation called Project Flicker produced payment records of about 5,200 people, many of whom provided Army or fleet zip codes or military email addresses. Subsequently, the Pentagon's investigative branch, DCIS, began going through the ICE list to identify who actually was a DoD employee or a contractor. The investigation, however, only ran for 8 months and only cross-checked some 3,500 names for Pentagon ties, according to a senator. According to DCIS documents revealed in a Freedom of Information Act request, out of that 3,500, investigators uncovered 264 employees or contractors, including staffers for the Secretary of Defense and contractors at the NSA. 9 people had top security clearances, but only about 20% of those 264 people were completely investigated. Fewer still were prosecuted, and after about 8 months, the entire probe was halted.
I can't play the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a violation. And I only get kicked out. But I'm going to post the link so you can watch that too. Now, this is the Pentagon. You feel me? This is the Pentagon. Okay? They supposed to protect us. This is like continents. This is like the military force, the heart of it. You know what I'm saying? And they're watching child pornography. Now people are wondering why or how those children were molested. You know, the immigrants that came across the border illegally, separated from their parents, end up being molested, and some are missing. It's time to wake up. You cannot keep going to the people who are taking your children away for protection. Okay? Now, I'm not saying everybody in the White House or the governors and stuff like that, but you can't tell me they don't know about it. It's in the newspapers. It's in the articles. That was CNN reporting that shit. Okay? CNN. Okay? This been going on for years and years. This is happening to everyone. And the whole problem is individuality. Because it's the victims are not connected with each other. This is not a, how can I say it? It's somebody takes your child away, that's happening to you. And other people come to support and help. You feel me? But the whole community comes together and they out searching. But you gotta understand, you hit the road, you gone like that. 24 hours is all they need. Highways. You have to understand something. When you move something around and you have to think about people, and you do the history of the slave trade, and you look at how people are able to move people in silence. You gotta think about that shit. Where are these people being held up at? So in Chicago, they were arresting people, and they had 1,000 people in this warehouse called Holman Square, and they called it an FBI black site. And this is where they were arresting people. Well, they weren't really arresting people because there's no logs on them. They were basically taking people off the streets and interrogating them without a lawyer, without parents or loved ones being able to reach them. And they were not arrested because they weren't in jail. This is something that they got a warehouse, and they said, we're going to just bring people here and do whatever they decide to do. This hit the Chicago newspaper. There was a protest. The police officer was the chief of police, was still the chief of police after this accident. He ended up being fired because he was drunk behind the wheel. That police officer, the chief of police was black. And he had bait trucks and all this kind of stuff. So you have to understand something. You're not dealing with sane people. The mentality of these individuals in some of these institutions are warped into some frame of mind that I can't really. They all are predators. Now you have some good cops and you have some bad cops, but they're not no few bad apples. You know what I'm saying? It's an infection and it's spreading. So you have to understand, when you see a police officer push down an old man and his head hit the concrete and he's bleeding out, and everybody's just walking by, that's the shit you see in the movies. This is reality. So there has to be the come together of the people. And the reason why I came to Native Americans, is because I believe in starting from the bottom and working your way up. Because out of everyone, y'all the ones who have been taken the most, and then the numbers goes up. I don't know the exact numbers versus everybody else, but at the same time, we are all going through this. So I believe that by helping the Native Americans in any shape or form, that will basically open up the floodgates, and we can use the momentum to reshape our society and find our people, you know. The sad reality is that if human trafficking has been going on in the United States, they have a system of moving people, a system of holding people, and then the fear that they install, that they set in place, that when these people escape, some of them commit suicide. They looking over their backs 24/7. Don't know who or wondering who, because it was that easy for them to get snatched. And there's nothing in place that's stopping them from being snatched again, other than just staying in the house. So, one, we have to look at this from all fronts. Okay? So, the number one problem is poor communities and trust. We have to strengthen our communities. We have to strengthen everything, and we have to rely on each other for safety. We cannot depend on these people. We cannot depend on government anymore. That's just facts. Strengthen your lands, unite with each other. Put away all that beef between tribes. There's too many people out here dying and being kidnapped and put in slavery for whatever reason, for people's enjoyment, sexual desires, or whatever the case may be. A slave is a slave, and we got to stop slavery. Uniting Native Lands will help build resources, help build share resources, and use those resources to help poor communities. You need farmland. Some of y'all are creating farmlands, and some of y'all are using solar panels and everything. That's great. But also, you need to be able to generate revenue. So there's a lot of poor communities in Chicago, food deserts or whatever. So whatever produce that you make, you can sell that in these communities to bring money into the native land and also help people in the poor communities. And then in turn, can probably form a co-op and open up a store in which they get products from you into their stores, and then they could generate some revenue. It's time to think outside the box. It's time to use socialism with capitalism, a balanced way of producing wealth for all people, providing shelter for all people. And while we're doing this, we build a network in which we can communicate, provide for each other, and provide safety. The number one problem is that we are self-inflicted with each other, with crime, with drugs, domestic abuse, and all that. So if you put those as equations into the scenario, you have people who are running away from home. You have people who are prostituting, trying to make ends meet, and whatever the case may be, selling drugs or whatever, being locked up, or just even kidnapped because he's a 12-year-old. There are cases where gangbangers are molesting children as well. These guys come out of prison and they get in the gang, and then next thing you know, they got these young boys they recruiting, and then they molest them as well, and then they turn them out. You know what I'm saying? And that's in the gangs. This is happening on all fronts to our children. You gotta understand, when you send in my neighborhood, when I went to school, I went through a dead zone of guns, gangs, and whatever. You know what I'm saying? And when I mean dead zone, I mean by anything can happen. And you are just a kid going to school, getting an education. They brainwashed us to allow ourselves to send our children out into the wilderness. You know? We have become so dependent on the way they want us to live. Native people are keeping their culture, and this should be a lesson for all races to go back to their culture and not be integrated or diluted into the white way of living. Okay? And I'm not meaning white people, I mean European whites, because other minority whites have also been stripped from their culture. They had to change their names to English names as well. And the reason why this is so important, because they prey on the weak and the weak communities and the people in those communities, and then the government don't pay attention to them because they're poor people, or wherever the case may be. So when you have strength and you have unity and you build network and you already have your own police force, and you expand that to a search force, you know what I'm saying? You have drones that you can have flying around and stuff like that. Put monitors up on your land and stuff. When you have farmland and you're growing food and you producing stores to other communities, and they see that happening, they welcome that, they'll be a part of that, and they also understand, and they also are missing people. Everybody's missing people. So this is how people can come together and unite. And during this COVID-19 situation, this pandemic, there's food shortages all around. You have land, You have resources. We could change everything. Forget all those stores and all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? We could reform society if we work together. And this is within the laws. I'm not trying to change laws or trying to create some system. Is well, I am trying to create a system, but this system is not against government. I'm not anti-government, anti-bullshit. That's what I'm about. So understand this. If you use solar power generators, use your streams to produce electricity. All you have to do is just use an alternator or whatever to crank up water pressure or whatever. You could use water to pump up. You could use pump to pump water up so you can water your crop. That same process can also generate electricity. We could be self-sufficient if we use modern day technology. Also, with 3D printing, that's a new thing that is wiggling in and out. Not too many people are into it because of the older generation, but that's the way we could produce tools. You know what I'm saying? Manufacturing right there. Anything that you need, you can print it out. All you need is the filaments, whether it's plastic, steel, or whatever the case may be. So getting back into the missing people, that's just, it's hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a fight. But at the same time, we have to readjust the way we're doing things. There's no way possible for us to get our children and missing people back if we don't come together. Okay? House to house search, right? Invasion of privacy. You just can't go into everybody else's home looking for your kid, right? But you want to. So keep in mind that with all these security cameras and all these technology they have to find people and to keep us under surveillance, you have to understand there's no way possible that they cannot see what the fuck is going on. Okay? I'm gonna send y'all some clips of some drones that are in the sky. I put that up there as well. FBI has military drones and they just flying them all over the United States of America. It's supposed to protect our borders, but as I see, it's just them watching us. So they have all this surveillance. You mean to tell me you can't see these people, groups of people being trafficking or how they doing it? People leave traces. So when you have a billionaire being arrested for sex trafficking, you have to also understand there's a lot of money into this. It's $1 billion industry. Okay? People are making money off of this. So that currency has to come from somewhere. So you can follow the money. Follow the money and see where it goes. Either it's bitcoins or cash. You got to start following the money. You're looking for people, you're not going to find them. You got to follow the money. See where the money's coming from. How you follow the money? You got to look at all these strip clubs. You got to look at everything that you can to find. You got to see where all these buildings are coming up from. Where is these warehouses at? You know what I'm saying? So if they're moving people, this is continents, international continents. International stings are going off and stuff like that. So it's a huge business. So you got to look at it from all fronts. You have government, you have people using it as a business, you have people's reputation at stake, you have government institutions on the line. So it's a lot of stuff in place. So that means there's a lot of protection. You understand that? A lot of protection. So, slavery. We have to form solidarity with that, and that's only going to happen through trust. But at the same time, we have to strengthen ourselves. We have to become self-sufficient and not dependent on the government. But at the same time, we got to put the right people in place. We got to start voting people out and voting people in. That means you, me, everybody, races of all people need to come together and put ourselves in a position where we can use to help find and end this slavery. Find our family and loved ones and end this slavery. Okay? It's going to take a lot of work, but first you need unity. You can't have division amongst native land because they just revoked another reservation. So those people are out. They don't care. So my hope is to unite people together and to provide resources during this pandemic, whether it's bartering, cash, food stamps, using co-op stores. If Native Americans can provide for the rest of the cities, poor communities, then if you need workers or whatever, have volunteers or whatever like that. Farmers are also as well need help, you know. So what you can't grow, what you can't get, produce stores in on your own land, you know, and then have your your products and their products. You know what I'm saying? We all have to work together because we all need each other right now for food, even for shelter. It's a lot of natives that are homeless, you know, and you need numbers. You need people. Standing Rock, and you see what happened over there. They want to put a pipeline. They don't give a fuck. You need people, man. People of all races. The government. We are the government. If we say no, if that state say no and the people in that state says no, then it's no. Whether it's on reservation land or not. That protest didn't stop anything. So when that happens, when a new president comes in town and change it or something like that, it has to be permanent. So we need lawyers. We need things to stand in stone. Universal health care is needed right now. A lot of things are needed right now. When I say universal health care, a lot of these children and adults that do come back need they need help mentally, post-traumatic stress disorder. We have no idea what these people have been through. And then that also we have to pay, see psychiatrists. That costs a lot of money. So if we can't get a universal health care or anything like that, we also have to come up with funds to help support these victims of slavery. And as a black man, I can't let this shit ride. And I've seen the protests. I've seen people coming out saying this, that, and the third is all falling on deaf ears. But once they see people coming together, once people are voting them out, where we're not worried about all that money that you got and all these ads and stuff like that. We already secured who the fuck we voting for in our community. We already know. We already decided. Okay? We have Facebook. We have YouTube. Emails. You put out your resume. We can have a town hall meeting discussing who are we going to put to be mayor. The mayor has we don't care. Who are we going to put to be mayor? We get all these people to be whoever. Vote Johnny down the street. He's a well-educated man. Find out, communicate, network. It's time to make a change, man. They're forcing us to go out and work, and people have to go out, and they laughing at those people. But you got to realize, it's either that or tent city. I got to go out and work. If I don't work, I get evicted. I don't have any place to go. I got to support my wife. You know what I'm saying? She has to do the same thing. We all need a break from this crazy shit. And we could get that if we could come together. Because then you have to understand the government is watching. Everybody's watching. In the moment people are starting together, you become a force, and then they put a label on it, and then you become the enemy. You gotta prepare for that too. So, if we can come together, if we can put our money and our minds together, relieve all of the pressure that we have as far as bills. You know, you have solar panels, you have electricity, you could generate your own things. We have electric generators. I mean, not your own things, but your own energy. That could be used to run wherever you need to run and stuff like that. If we could get people in the Chamber of Commerce in these poor communities to invest in what you're doing and help you, then that's how you get that co-op up and running, because you also have a percentage in the co-op. You bringing in the produce and they selling your product within the community. If you want to get even deeper, you can form your own currency. I'm going to post a link of Baltimore Beanos. New York have their own currency. It's legal. Turn your casinos into banks, or branch out and form your own banks and use that to help fund your own currency. So now what it is like a coupon. You know, $1, and you take that dollar and you purchase a coupon. That coupon will give you probably like 15 cents more. So now you have a coupon that's worth $1.15. The incentive is to use that to purchase products and keep the money in your community. Nobody else can use those. They use that currency. You don't want to use that currency at Walmart. You want to use it at mom and pop stores that keep that money within your community and within your bank. If all the Native American funding is, we can make that happen. And then you can stretch that currency from native land to native land, and then with the cities around that native land. You feel me? So now you bring in revenue, you bring in money into all these cities. You can hit Milwaukee, Green Bay, Chicago, whatever. Now you have that currency, and then when they buy it, you just bring in more money into the land. See what I'm saying? You're increasing your wealth. And when you do that, all you're doing is also you're providing people who are in need, and everybody benefits. Hold on, let me turn this down. Everybody benefits. Then, when you got that going, you form a force, a police force, to help search. You know, you could use anything you can. You know what I'm saying? Your children, you know, put a collar around their arm. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, but tracking device and whatever. When they get older and they're teenagers, you know what they'll do. They'll take it off anyway. They'll find a way. But when they're kids and stuff, if something happened, they're on the way to school, anything, when that thing goes off or comes off, boom, automatically alert. You always see the last position, and you know where it's at, so you can create a radius to search. So a lot of things that we can do as a society without complicating our freedom, because they already got cameras all over the place. So why can't we have cameras around the res and in our communities in which we can monitor and watch to see what's going on? This also will help with the crime, but you don't have to report it or say it. You could just say, look, you can send it by email, and boom, and somebody leaked that, it will come from the department, and you'll know that the police department is against you because they're allowing information to link when you're supposed to be it's supposed to be discreet. Well, that's about it. We have to come together. All this racism and all this stuff is keeping us apart. White people are being kidnapped too. They're disappearing too. This is not just a minority issue. There are white slaves now. This will unite people, but people only see these slaves as prostitutes. Finding people must become a movement. Becoming self-sufficient, defending your land, defending our communities must happen. Y'all have a Native American police force. We minority communities are in need of a new police force. They need training. They need to be able to have the training and gain experience while forming a police force to protect their communities, because they're going to be inexperienced, and then you're gonna have those assholes who get on that ego trip, so hopefully if the Native American police force would train whoever signs up to form a police force in the cities to be an alternative against the police that is brutalizing us. That could be great. Coming together, give people an alternative that will force the police to change their ways if they want to get paid, if they want to keep those pensions coming, because it's all about contract. Okay, but I don't know about everybody, but that's for as far as I know. Just coming together, man, and then you come in, you train, and you help these communities over here. They gonna help you in return. You bringing in food in a time of need, and they say, well, we could use stores, and it's a co-op. That means everybody in the community is investing in that. So if anybody rob or anything like that or breaking down, everybody is gonna be pissed the fuck off, and then they'll be robbing from themselves, because I'm pretty sure those boys in the hood, they think about it. The amount of money that comes out of the hood just by drug sales. I'm not saying everybody in the hood is selling drugs and stuff. Please don't get that impression. But when you get arrested and you can't get a job, you get a felony, you can't get a job, what else you gonna do? Look at where we at now. Okay? Just pretend you just got out of jail. And look at the jobs that you can't work because they tell you it's COVID-19, it's not an essential job or whatever. That's the same boat. You just haven't been convicted as a felon. Well, people are marijuana charges, and now everybody in some states is free, in other states they doubling down. I'm not getting off topic here. I'm trying to get you to understand when you are looking and thousands of people are still disappearing and nothing is being done about it. It's time to reshape, reform, understand what you're dealing with, increase the police force, help others, and at the same time those people will help you. And now you have a stronger unit to search, to look for people. You're not depending on the cops. You're not depending on the senator and the mayor. Now you have a police force in Chicago, Milwaukee, all these big states that want an alternate police force. So would you need somebody to help find a missing person? You have forces all over the United States that will help you look. You have Native American, black people, white people, Puerto Ricans, everybody together, because everybody's missing somebody. So make a phone call, call the police force, they on the move. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You form your own ways of doing things, everybody comes together, and I don't like that. You don't think that's cool. Yeah, we could do this and you do that. You have a committee outside of the police force, so when these fools act up, understand, people gonna make mistakes. These people over here, outside of it, they say, hey, no, that's not the way it's supposed to go. See what I'm saying? So you have a committee that oversees what's going on, and we got to weed out corruption. I mean, every institution has become corrupt sooner or later, but you have to have policies in place. We're going to have to learn from our mistakes. And we can't fall into the pressure of somebody creating a mistake. Somebody in this new police force that unjustly killed somebody, he's going to jail. You know what it feels like. You see on TV, you upset, you protest. So don't make the same mistakes that they are making. So I think that's it, man. I have nothing else to say. Innovation. I have also other ideas of creating income for everyone in the community. I just don't want to say too much, and I can't give out my own ideas because I haven't formed an LLC for it yet, because I don't have any money. But be as it may, we can all come together and we can put an end to a lot of shit. Gypsy King out. Peace.